So all of these pieces of the application that I've talked about, the contents of those pieces don't change based on where you are applying to law school. So those are things you can work on before you know your LSAT score, before you've decided where to apply. Once you know your LSAT score and you're deciding where to apply, you have decisions to make, obviously. So you should put together your schools list based on location, ranking, and price. And everybody's priorities of those three things are different. And I would also say, based on my many years of working with thousands of people, that those priorities change through an application cycle. At the beginning of the cycle, most people, I would say 90% of people care about ranking. And at the end of the cycle, 90% of people care about debt. Suddenly it feels very real. And so because of that, I really urge people to only apply under a binding decision program when they really, really mean it. They have to be really sure that they're willing to go to that school above all others, no matter what other money comes their way and no matter what it would cost. Because that's a pretty big decision. At the beginning of the cycle, it's like, oh, I would do anything to get into NYU. And then at the end of the cycle, oh, I've gotten into NYU binding, I have to go. And I have to turn down that really great scholarship to whatever other law school. That's tough. That's really, really tough. So be really sure about yourself before you decide to apply binding. But if you do apply binding, if your numbers are close to a school, but a little low, and you really want to give yourself the best opportunity to get into a particular school you'd be committed to attending, then binding is a great way to go. So consider that. And different schools have different binding deadlines. So many are in the fall early, and others are graduated throughout the cycle. Some have two waves. So there might be first round binding in the fall and second round binding in January, for example. Or it could be like Georgetown, where they've traditionally had binding open through their entire application cycle. So almost, I think, through March. So you can take a look at some of that, and you can actually game that a little bit and say, okay, my first choice is UVA. If I don't get in there under the first round, then I'll apply to Cornell second round, right? You can play with that a bit. But again, you always have to be willing to pay full price at whatever that law school is. Okay, so, and I'd always rather someone wait and have a better LSAT score than apply binding with a lower LSAT score. So if that's what you're thinking about, if you're like, oh, I'm going to apply binding with whatever score I have by October 3rd, but I'm still going to take the LSAT in November, that makes no sense whatsoever. Don't do that. Okay. I find that there's a line from the movie Sweet Home Alabama, trying to ride two horses with one ass. Like, that doesn't really work in the law school application process. You got to pick a strategy and go with it, and make good decisions accordingly.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.